Thank you. I'm starting to apologize.
Okay, so it's almost there.
Where's it live?
Yep, you're live now.
Okay. Hi, sorry, technical difficulties, and thank you for being on today. So welcome to the Native Wellness Institute Power Hour, and I attended the Native Youth Wellness Warrior Camp a couple weeks ago, and I've been invited to talk during this Power Hour with my animals. And my name is Butterfly Rain, and my American name is Taryn Carpenter. I'm Cherokee, and I'm going to be talking about my animal sanctuary. I have 12 animals in my sanctuary, and I also breed mealworms, stickworms, Madagascar hissing cockroaches, and roaches. I teach throughout the DMV area at community events, and I have 7 different kinds of animals here with me today. The first kind of animal that I'm going to be teaching about is my hedgehog, which I have here with me today. This is Rolo. She's a little huffy. You can hear her huff and what she's going to be doing. The reason she's huffy is because she's new to my sanctuary, and now she's rolled up into a ball. She's only been with me for around 2 or 3 weeks, so she's very shy, and I'm talking kind of loud, which she's not a huge fan of, and it's during day, which would be the time she'll be sleeping, because they are nocturnal. They're actually not a rodent, even though they do burrow, and yeah, so they're not related to the porcupine, even though they do have quills, or the tenric, which looks like exactly like them. The tenrics are actually related to elephants, and hedgehogs are related to shrews. They're from Europe, Asia, and Africa. So these are African pygmy hedgehogs, which are the most common pet hedgehogs that you'll find. Adopt, don't buy. So if you can ever if you want a hedgehog and you can find one that's up for adoption, like at a animal shelter, or I don't know, on Craigslist or something like that, that's better than getting one from a breeder, just because there's always animals that need a home. So she doesn't like to be held that much. She'd rather go run around or hide in her little napping bag. Let's see. So they're not legal in every state, so always check your state laws before getting any pet. But since hedgehogs are exotic animals, they're also going to be one of the less likely animals to have in, depending what state you live in. So speaking about them being exotic, they have exotic prices and exotic vet bills. So it could be $60 to even get your hedgehog seen at the vet. And yes, hedgehogs need to be seen at the vet, even though they are a small animal. And they have to be taken to the vet routinely for checkups, just like any other animal. And you have to have a vet fund set aside to take your little hedgie friend to the vet. You have to have like $500 to $1,000 set aside to take an exotic animal to the vet. Let's see, they're prone to cancer and wobbly hedgehog syndrome. Wobbly hedgehog syndrome, while it does sound cute, it's not fun. It's like MS in humans, which has them wobbling around, and they're prone to that as they get older, though. They also should not be able to hibernate, which means that they shouldn't have temperatures lower than 72 degrees in their habitat, like their cage or bin, if you keep them in a bin. They need 72 to 80 degrees, and they live 9 to 10 years. They're not good for young children because the quills can be very sharp, and little kids have very soft hands. They have 5,000 to 7,000 quills, depending on the kind of hedgehog. Most hedgehogs wouldn't have only 5 quills, though. The quills protect against predators and falls. So a hedgehog shouldn't be falling because they do not climb. But if a hedgehog does fall because it's accidentally dropped, they should roll up into a ball so they don't get too badly hurt or hurt at all, because these quills are very good at protecting them. And they roll up into a ball by two muscles on either side of their body. And yeah, that's all I have for, oh, and they come in 92 different colors. So another thing about quills is that you also have to wash them. So you wash your hedgehog around 2 times a month with a soft toothbrush and soap. The kind of soap you use is baby soap, which I have right here. It's very good. You don't use shampoo, not baby shampoo, because that would strip the oil off of their quills. Okay, now that's all I have for quills. Another thing is that bonding time, since they are nocturnal, is 30 minutes a day at least, early in the morning or at night when they start to wake up. And don't try having it during the day, because that's when they want to be asleep and you want to work with your hedgehog. If you're only going to be home and able to bond with your hedgehog during the day, then a hedgehog's probably not the best pet for you, because there's lots of other animals that are available that you can get. Trust me, you'll find one. They have poor eyesight, so they're scent driven. So they know your scent and you want to connect that scent with safety. One way you can do that is by sleeping with like a rag or a towel or a stuffed animal, and then putting that rag, towel, or stuffed animal in their cage in like their like hiding spot or whatever, and they'll recognize that with safety. I have notes, so I'm checking my notes to make sure that I am getting all my points down to y'all. Sometimes, hi, no. Hedgehogs will foam at the mouth. Sometimes if they're like mating with something that smells, I can't speak. If it has a strong smell. My hedgehog did that, and I was like, oh no, did he rat poison? Because we're outside. I was really worried because it's like foaming at the mouth, and I was licking it on itself, and I was like, that's weird. And it was acting totally fine after it did that, and I was like, oh gosh, what happened? So I did some research as soon as we got home, and I found out that hedgehogs do this. Like, apparently this hedgehog was doing potato chips, and they'll do this. Like, some do it frequently, some never do it, and so the hedgehogs will do it and everything like that. Totally normal, and they do that because they want to cover up their own odor with odor that's stronger than theirs. Hedgehogs' basic diet is cat food because high in protein, need a high protein diet. And another thing is that they digest chitin, which is the exoskeleton of insects. And that's very good for them. So make sure that they get lots of insects that are live insects. Live insects are better than the freeze-dried ones because that's not good for stomachs. They need a 4 square feet large bin or cage at least. To run around in, and that's wide, not high, because they're not supposed to climb. And it shouldn't have really any empty space, no empty space, because they like to hide, and if they have empty space, it makes them stressed out. Like you see right now, she's hiding her face. Let's see what else. They need 72 to 80 degrees, and you make sure to maintain that by having a heat lamp. They also love to run, and you can have help them run by putting a wheel in. So hedgehogs should always have a wheel. There's different kinds of wheels. Make sure it's a 12-inch wheel. There's saucer wheels. Saucer wheels break pretty fast, even though they're designed for chinchillas, which are normally heavier than hedgehogs, because hedgehogs are 1 pound. They need 2 hide spots at least. There's a cozy hide spot, like this is her favorite kind of cozy hide spot. She also has an igloo, but it's not her favorite. Then there's PVC pipe that you can get from like Home Depot or something like that. For bedding, you can use fleece bedding, like a fleece blanket, or something along those lines. You can't use cedar or pine. Never use cedar or pine for any animal. It's dusty. They can ingest it purposely or accidentally, and it's terrible for their digestive system. Yeah, then make sure you clip their nails. Toys are great for them too. I have different kinds of toys that are good. This one's good because she can't get her teeth stuck in it. So right here is good for her. She can't get her teeth stuck in it, or her feet. These 2 are bad, and they use cat toys. She can get her teeth and feet stuck in these, so these are bad. My cats can do with those. She cannot. So they aren't social with other hedgehogs, and that's all I got for hedgehogs. Now she can hide. Next animal I'm going to be talking about is hermit crabs. They are not supposed to be pets. So the reason I have my Hermes are because I got them before I didn't know they were supposed to be pets, and that was like almost 5 years ago, maybe. Yeah. And here we go. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Kind of. Oh, well, hopefully I'll focus a bit more as I start talking. So this is Moises. She's actually very friendly with people and enjoys to be held, which is very strange for a hermit crab. So zoologists can't even keep hermit crabs alive for the full 30 years they're supposed to be alive, at least 30 years supposed to be alive in the wild. In captivity, they only live around 3 years. And that's with really, really good care. Like I said, I think I had them, a couple of them for around 4-ish years. I think maybe more than that now. Yeah. So they stress very easily. So it's best actually not to handle your crab and not to play with them, which I don't handle them and play with them. Other than when I'm teaching about them, which isn't that often other than at the events. And once I take them back home, they go back into their tank so they can de-stress. They're born in the wild, and then they're taken out of the wild, which is like a no-no. You shouldn't take a hermit crab home. But when people take them out of the wild, they're taken to these like places, these buildings, and they're forced into painted shells. The way they force them into painted shells is by using this crank to put onto their shell, which cranks down on their shell. Like say this is a hermit crab, or it is a hermit crab. Take the crank, put it onto their shell. It cranks down on their shell. It shatters the shell. So they are forced to out of the shell, and sometimes the shell shatters and stabs the hermit crab. And then they toss this hermit crab, if it's injured, into the trash bag with all the other fragments of broken shells, and that hermit crab just goes in the trash. But if it seems like it's not injured or not going to die, they toss it into a bucket with painted shells. Painted shells that look like footballs or Superman or flowers on it. So of course these shells I don't use. These were shells given to me. I have no reason to use them other than as teaching objects and props. Because there's nothing else I can do with them. And yeah. But so they'll put them into a bucket with painted shells like that, and the hermit crabs are forced to protect themselves because they have to protect their soft body from the environment, because their body inside the shell is actually soft, and that's why they live in shells. And these are actually snail shells. And the painted shells, when they paint a shell, they sand down the shell and smooth the shell by sanding it down and everything. and it's so thin. These painted shells are so thin compared to natural shells. The shells would be like these ones right here. This one and this one, like if you guys were here, you would be able to feel how heavy these are. Like, are so heavy compared to. You can hear the difference. It's crazy. So then they are forced into these painted shells if they survive the crank. Then painted shells are bad because they're toxic. Hermit crabs are scavengers. They actually try purposely to chip the paint off. The paint also a lot of times chips off naturally, just by chipping off. It's cheap paint a lot of time, and the hermit crabs will eat the paint because they're hungry, and they're not given proper food. So then the hermit crabs are injured that way. Pet stores and boardwalks don't teach proper ways to care for the hermit crabs, and they're keeping horrid conditions when they're on the pet store or on the boardwalk and at pet stores. They're also so some of the wrong advice that they give is that they're supposed to have a sponge. Sponges are toxic. In the wild, hermit crabs are, these purple pincher Caribbean hermit crabs are land dwellers. So if you're at the beach, you're not going to find a sponge on the beach that a hermit crab is drinking from. They're going to be drinking from a puddle or like the tide pool. Salt water and fresh water. So when if you already have a hermit crab, you need to make sure you have fresh water and salt water. The kind of salt water they need is aquarium salt. And it needs to be deep enough that they can soak in so they can clean out their shell. Because stuff's going to get in their shell like sand, if you have sand. And sand they need isn't calcium sand, they need play sand from like Home Depot or something like that. Because calcium hardens, and you don't want that to harden inside their shell because that's going to kill your crab. They need to bury in at least 6 inches of, I prefer coconut fiber. Coconut fiber is lighter. It's not going to collapse on your crab when they're buried under, which I'm going to get into in a second. So when they're buried under the coconut fiber, because coconut fiber is a lot better, when they're buried under the coconut fiber, they're going to make a tunnel and then make a little cave. When under the cave, they're going to come out of their shell. They're going to shed their exoskeleton like a snake, except snakes have skin and scales. They're going to shed their exoskeleton. Then they're going to stay there for around a month, then eat their exoskeleton so they have enough energy to come back up out of the coconut fiber. Then they're going to get back into their shell after they finish eating their exoskeleton, get back into their shell, come back up. They're going to smell different. You won't be able to smell it, but the other hermit crabs will because they're scavengers. And they won't really know that this hermit crab isn't another crab and it's part of their family. So they might try eating that other hermit crab. And a way to avoid that is by separating that hermit crab into like a smaller tank or a good sized container, just long enough for its exoskeleton to harden, like a week, with some extra food and some 3 extra shells that are slightly bigger, not crazy large, but just slightly bigger. And yeah, just separate it for a little bit. Make sure it has water and everything. Yeah. So don't unbury them. That's another thing. Don't unbury them because they'll stress out if you unbury them. Avoid tap water. Don't use tap water. Never do that for any of your animals. Tap water has chlorine in it and other chemicals are used to clean it. It's not good for people either because these chemicals, people can tolerate it better than animals. Especially larger animals can tolerate it better, but smaller animals are very sensitive to these kinds of chemicals. They need a high humidity because they actually have gills on the side of their body, which you can actually see if the camera focus on it. So they need 80% humidity and 72 to 80 degrees temperature. They switch shells a lot. Sometimes they switch shells for fun. She likes to switch shells for fun. She likes to switch shells for fun in front of people. She's a big show off about it. they need 2 to 3 extra shells depending on the size of the hermit crab. So I have 3 hermit crabs that are about this size. So I have actually 8 shells or 6 shells, I think, for this size hermit crab when really I only need 3. Yeah, that's all I got for hermit crabs. And my next animal.
Backtrack question.
Yes.
Why aren't hedgehogs social with other hedgehogs?
Why aren't hedgehogs social? It's just in their biology. In the wild, they just live alone, and they haven't been in captivity that long. You can have other hedgehogs together. If it was like 2 sisters together or mother and daughter, they have been known to stick together, but it's not that common. Sometimes even 2 sisters will fight, or mother and daughter will fight eventually, and you would have to get 2 separate cages. And cages, again, are square feet, 4 square feet for cage or 4 square feet for bin. You want to keep them warmer. It's just biologically they're not that social. Yeah, I don't know any other reason than that they haven't been in captivity long enough to be domesticated enough.
Did you mention coconut fiber?
Yes. My next animal is going to be a Pac-Man frog, which is very active today. Normally these Pac-Man frogs are very calm, but so she doesn't have any coconut fiber. She doesn't have any coconut fiber in this tank that I'm holding her in right now. This is a, I think, 5-gallon tank, I'm gonna say. About 2-gallon tank. 5-gallon tank would be bigger. So 2-gallon tank, and that's just her little case that I'm keeping her in right now. Her actual tanks upstairs, that would be a 10-gallon tank. 10-gallon tanks are fine. You can get one larger, but they normally just stay in the corner and switch corners. They don't do much. They don't hop around. They're not adventurous. They really just eat and go to the bathroom and chill out in the corner. They are, I can't think of the proper name, but they wait. They're hunters that wait for their prey to come to them. I can't think for the proper name for that, so I explained it kind of. They sit and wait for their prey. That's why you don't need a huge tank for them. So 10-gallon is good. Adopt, don't buy. Don't get from PetSmart or Petco. I wouldn't ever get an animal from PetSmart or Petco. They get from chain breeders, meaning breeders that don't take their animals to vets. PetSmart and Petco occasionally do take their animals to vets, but the breeders, they get them from don't. So they are exotic animals. So when you have a Pac-Man frog, if your Pac-Man frog gets sick, you take it to an exotic vet. So make sure you have an exotic vet fund put aside, $500 to $1,000 put aside. You probably won't need to take your Pac-Man frog to the vet that often, like maybe once. Your Pac-Man frog shouldn't actually get sick if you feed it properly, which would be crickets, worms, and cockroaches are very good. I don't really suggest a staple cricket diet ever for anything. Crickets aren't that healthy. Gut load your crickets, gut load all your insects always, meaning feed them right before you feed them to your animal and feed them the best, like, healthy stuff you can. Frogs are slimy, so she's a slimy one, wet and slimy. They live 5 to 10 years. So if you don't have a plan of what you're going to be doing in 5 to 10 years, then don't get a Pac-Man frog or anything that's going to live 5 to 10 years. I kind of already touched on what they eat, but they also eat, my bearded dragon wants to go for a walk. There you go, buddy. Stay. Okay. They also eat, when they're adults, fish. Guppies are better than...
Hold them. They said they can see them.
So guppies are better than rosies and goldfish because because they rosies and goldfish have like this like kind of stuff in them. I can't remember the proper name again. That isn't good for your packing. So go with guppies if you're going to feed them fish as a treat, not as a staple diet. And pinkies are baby mice, freeze-dried, that you warm up once after they've been, not freeze-dried, sorry, frozen. Frozen pinkies once they're adults. They're aggressive eaters, meaning that they will lunge at the food. The reason she's in my sanctuary is because she does not do that. She does it occasionally, but normally I have to assist feed her. So I assist feed her Pac-Man food because she doesn't like to eat live food or even food that is freeze-dried or dead or anything like that. Yeah, she's not an aggressive eater. They also need a water bowl in their tank. So she likes to sit in her water bowl. Probably if I had her water bowl in here right now, she'd be a lot calmer. She loves her water bowl. And they also go to the bathroom in their water bowl, so it makes it a lot easier to clean their tank. Don't hold your frog. They absorb oils from your skin through their skin. So they're not good to hold. They're not good for young children because young children want to hold their pet and play with them. So they're more like a fish. You mostly just look at them. You can probably hold them like once or twice a month if you wanted to, and to clean their tank, but don't hold them, don't play with them, don't hold them for a long time throughout the day. You can put fake plants in a hiding spot in their tank if you would like, but you don't need to. You can just put a water bowl in and I think like 5 inches of coconut fiber, 6 inches of coconut fiber, and that's really all you have to put in the tank. That's all she has in her tank. She doesn't need a lot. They need 75 to 85 degrees temperature during the daytime, and at night they need 60 to 65 degrees at night. The coconut fiber always needs to be very moist because they need to absorb the moisture from the coconut fiber through their skin. And don't house Pac-Man frogs together because the Pac-Mans will eat the other Pac-Mans and sometimes it'll suffocate them because even if they're the same size, the Pac-Man will try eating it and both Pac-Mans won't make it. So next.
Does any of your animals need a heating pad or a lamp?
Yes. So this one, you can put a lamp on top or a heating pad on the side. Don't put one at the bottom, but put it at the side or a heating lamp at the top. I like to put a heating pad on the side because I don't like it at the top because if she doesn't bury all the way under the coconut fiber, she kind of gets too hot at the top of her skin.
And the hermit crabs, do they need?
And for the hermit crabs, yes, I have a heating pad for them that goes at the bottom of the tank, and you can put one aside too. Also, I put a heating lamp at the top of the tank. All the animals, I think, can have a heating lamp, and I'll say if they don't. Which I'll start remembering just to do that. This one right here, she also can have a heating pad at the side of her tank, and I think and she has a heating lamp at the top of her tank. Another thing to do is when you have a heating lamp, make sure you get I can't think of the proper name, but this adjust the lighting of it. It's a extra piece to adjust the lighting. It's really nice. I have to see if I have the name of it in my notes. I can't find it, but it's great if you find the name and find to adjust the light. They sell it at PetSmart and Petco. Don't get the pets from there, but the supplies can be good. So this is the toad. It's a Fowler's toad. Her name is Sassy. She's very sweet. Right now I think she's probably hungry, that's why she's so active. But and she's looking at her friend. The reason she's looking over there, she's her deer dragon friend. what should we be talking about in next? Adopt, don't buy. You probably won't be able to find one up for adoption because these are wild caught. Normally, they are from America, just like the American toad. They are exotic, so you'd be taken into an exotic vet if you need to take your toad to that exotic vet. Make sure you have a vet fund if you decide to catch one out of the wild. They do live longer in captivity than in the wild. That means in your home. So I'm totally chill with people taking them out of the wild, and that's why I did for her. The reason I have her is because the campsite that I was going to for a few years, she was kind of like the legendary toad because she's an inch larger than other fowler toads normally get. And people, campsite, just had a bearded dragon walk over my keyboard, sorry about that. People at the campsite next to the camp that I was going to release a bunch of cats. And if a cat or a dog or a fox eats the toad, there's these two poison glands on either side of their head, these fat things, that release this white poison out of it. And the white poison will poison the animal. They'll get a stomach ache, they'll foam out the mouth, they'll be really sick and lethargic and probably throwing up. Have to take them to the vet, and they'll have to get fluids and treated and everything. So you have to be careful about that. And I asked if I could take her home because she lived right next to the lodge, and I didn't want her to be eaten. And there was a cat hanging around where we knew that she lived. So the camp director said yes, and I brought her to my sanctuary. So the next toads are actually a kind of frog, except they're dry and bumpy, and frogs are wet and slimy. And the other difference is that frogs breathe through their skin while they're underwater, and toads cannot do that. And toads do not give you warts. That's a myth. Another myth is toads. I heard this 2 days ago. Toads aren't named toads because they have toes. Both frogs and toads have toes. So, yeah. Food. They are insectivores. So, meaning that they do eat insects, only insects. Worms, cockroaches. She only ate cockroaches when I first got her. So I had to teach her to eat worms. It took a year to get, or over a year, 2 years to get her to eat her first worm. And other things. They swallow, both frogs, or all kinds of frogs, including toads, eat by swallow by blinking. So they push their eyes against their food, and that's how they're swallowed. It's very cool. And they're great for kids. Toads remind me of home. I had my first toad in Frederick when I was like 5, and she lived outside. Every time it rained or it was nighttime, I would go outside and find her. Her name was Toadie. She was great. I'd bring her inside, and I would feed her like crickets that I caught, and they were dead crickets, and she would eat them. And it was great. I loved her. And I would like have worms that I would catch and keep in a container ready for her. I loved her. But she had babies one day. It was great. I'm not gonna finish with the story, but it was amazing. I loved her. Next, I'm going to talk about her best friend.
Do they carry diseases?
Oh, do they carry diseases? They can carry salmonella. So that is the same thing that's like on chicken, raw chicken. Same with frog, any kind of frog and snake. That's like from when they go to the bathroom, and reptile, amphibian thing. So when they go to the bathroom, like pee or number 2, as long as you wash them with like bottled water or clean filtered water, you should be safe from that, because their bathroom would be on them if they're like running around in their tank. Wash your hands after playing with them. Don't eat right after playing with them. I have a, she just went to the bathroom on me. She went to pee on me. Great. I have a terrible habit of eating right after playing with my animals. So if I was gonna get sick from them, I probably already would have. But especially with little kids, you have to be very careful about that. Yeah. So they can carry salmonella. I don't know of any other diseases that toads can carry, but that. Yes. Any other questions? We're good? Okay. Now her best friend, Balthazar, the bearded dragon. It's coming over to me now. Here we go. Come here, buddy. This is Balthazar. Show your face. There we go. Where do you think he's going? There you go. And he is, I think, around 14, 17 inches long. I get a chance to measure him today. So he did stop growing when he was 1 year old. I don't know, it's kind of blurry. There, come on my shoulder. And he'll just stay there. So adopt, don't buy. You can find them on Craigslist or some other site like that. The most likely be an adult, or you can buy baby ones if someone accidentally bred them, or bred them on purpose, but you know, just make sure like you find them from like a good breeder. Don't get from PetSmart or Petco. They're very laid back animals. They're very sweet, very calm. They're good for all ages. Very simple to take care of. If you're gonna get a lizard, get a bearded dragon. Don't get an iguana. They get very large. They're a lot more to take care of. They need like a whole room. They don't need just one tank. They need a whole room to roam. Bearded dragons need like a 40-gallon tank as a baby, 75-gallon tank as an adult asset. And they do need to come out of their tank to roam too, but they don't need a whole room. They just need to roam a bit every day. If you want to just get one tank, I would get a 75-gallon tank just all at once, which I'm going to need to do. So they're great pets. They live 15 to 20 years. So if you don't know what you're going to be doing in 15, 20 years, get something that lives a shorter lifespan. They don't put bearded dragons together. They don't get along. So they need a basking bulb, which is something for them for heat, and a UVB bulb. There we go. UVB bulb, which is for their sun, so they can get the sun rays. And it needs to be 90 to 95 degrees on their hot side of the tank, and on the cool side, the tank needs to be 80 degrees. And how you do that is you put the bulbs on one side at the top of the tank, and you put the no bulbs on the other. You also put 2 hiding spots, one on one side of the tank and one on the other side. That way they can use it as either a tunnel, because not all dragons like to use a hiding spot, or they can hide under it. For substrate, everyone has a different opinion on substrate. Some people say use loose substrate like sand. Some people say don't use sand. I don't use sand. I use paper towels. It's very easy because it gets dirty. You just take it out and throw it away. And they are lickers, meaning that they lick their environment. They're very curious, like a dog or a baby. So that's why I use loose substrate. And for baby, which are juvenile bearded dragons, it's definitely not a good idea to use sand or loose substrate. and they can't digest it. Don't use calcium sand, which people actually suggest for bearded dragons at pet stores. People who breed bearded dragons would never suggest calcium sand, but pet stores don't know better apparently. Juvenile bearded dragons need 70% insects and 30% plants because they are omnivores. So 70% insects because they need more protein as they're growing up. And then it switches once they become adults. He's trying to climb the wall right now. So as they're growing up, they need to be gut-loaded insects, and yeah, they need lots of climbing things in their tank because they love to climb. Like he's trying to climb the wall right now, as you can see. And it's not doing a very good job because he has a very smooth wall. Okay.
Do bearded dragons procreate? Do they
Reproduce?
Yeah, on their own.
They do not reproduce on their own. They need a female and a male. Yeah. So if you have female and male together, they will also still probably fight. So you would probably have to separate them after trying to breed them. I also don't suggest breeding them because you're gonna have to find homes for them. And they do lay a bunch of eggs. I can't remember how many exactly, but they will lay a good amount, and you're going to have to separate every baby with every tank. That's a 75-gallon tank for each baby. That's a lot. And you can't keep all those babies together as they're adults. They won't get along even though they're siblings and family. Instincts will kick in and they won't get along. You can try, but you have to be very careful. You have to pay attention very strongly because once they hit that year mark or like a year and 2 months, instincts will kick in and they'll start getting more aggressive. Yeah. So my next animal is going
What about washing hands?
Washing hands. I talked about washing hands and that you're gonna have to wash your hands after handling your pets.
Do hedgehog have illnesses or what are they?
Hedgehog illnesses are wobbly hedgehog syndrome and cancer. That's the main two illnesses that hedgehogs get. Hedgehogs. Okay, so I need a cat. Miho. Yeah, regular cat. Okay. All right. So this is Miho, Mr. Hills.
Yeah.
Yes. So he's I think 3 years old now. And I got him, he's a feral cat. All 3 of my cats are feral cats, meaning that they were once wild cats. And he's so chill with me right now. He actually does not like to be held, even though he's very calm because he just woke up. Depending on where you live, you might need a license. Meaning that, like for where I live, I need a license to have my cats if they go outside. Make sure you keep them up to date on their shots because there's this thing called feline disease, which is like AIDS in people. It's very contagious between cats. Through any kind of like bodily like fluid, just like AIDS people. So make sure you keep them up to date on their shots. If they go outside and you have to stay inside, up to date on their shots. Brush your cats, especially if they're long-haired or medium-haired. Even my short-haired cats really need to be brushed a lot. Pet soap, cat soap, cat shampoo. If your cats get dirty easily, cats will clean themselves, but sometimes the cat needs some extra help. They have lots of energy, even though right now it doesn't seem like it. They do have lots of energy, like at nighttime or just a burst of energy during the day. They need to run around, so just keeping them locked up in one small room isn't great. It's better to let the cat have free range of your home. and have lots of toys to play with. This cat right here, he likes to play with foam balls, and he'll run around playing with the foam ball. He likes to play fetch. My other cat likes to play fetch with catnip mice. My other one, he likes to play with everything. They need hard and soft cat food. The hard cat food is better for their teeth. Make sure you check the ingredients no matter what. Check the ingredients. Don't trust what anyone says. Because make sure your cat stays healthy. Make sure you're bringing your cat to the vet too every 6 months or whatever it is that you need to bring your cat to the vet. Or if your cat is sick, bring it to the vet. Clip their nails. This cat right here, he needs to clip his nails. You can't really see it, but his nails need to be clipped. Yeah. I don't suggest declawing your cat's nails, just keep them clipped. There's also these like clip-on nails that are rubber or plastic that are great. You just went to the bathroom. So adult cats are just as good as kittens. They're sweet, they're cuddly, and there's lots of cats in the shelter. Don't get cats from a breeder. There's every kind of cat. There's purebred cats in the shelter. Just call around shelters near you, or go online that someone might be giving away a purebred cat. You can find the cat that you want, and you don't have to go to a breeder, because getting a bred animal is just no good. Don't do it. Yeah. Next animal, I'm sorry, buddy, I got it down, is rabbit. So for rabbit, we got first thing about holding a rabbit is that you take one hand, put it around their chest, and the other hand wrap it around their bottom, and hold it just like that. I'm gonna put he likes to put his feet on my head more. Let me wrap my hand around his bottom. And I also tuck his little feety in. And there we go. I'll turn my hair back. Animal. Okay. He's a very nervous bunny. Most rabbits are kind of nervous. And they don't like to be held. But they are very social animals. So you might have to have more than one. Like two. But that's if you have enough room. And rabbits actually should not be kept in cages. Like at nighttime, keeping them in a cage while you're not with them is fine. In a large cage, like PetSmart and Petco normally don't sell cages large enough to keep a rabbit in. But pens, like if you have a pen that is 3 feet high, because most rabbits can't jump 3 feet unless you have like one of those large rabbits. So like a 4-foot high cage just to be safe is good. You can get them online, or ones for dogs. That's fine too. Adopt, don't buy. There's one rabbit at animal shelters that need homes all the time. And again, purebred rabbits, animal shelters, great, do that. But don't get ones from breeders. When you get one from a breeder, they're kept in cages. They're so small. The rabbit can just turn around and that's it. And they have wire bottom cages, which mess up their feet and their breath so fast. It's terrible. It's really cruel. And they're so, you can just see it everywhere. And I meet people who breed rabbits all the time at fairs. And it's like nothing to them. It's awful. They need to run around, and they're very sweet, and they're loving, and they need to run around all the time. They love to run, they love to play. So inside is safe. Keeping a rabbit outside in a hutch isn't that safe. They can get diseases. It shortens the lifespan because rabbits can live 5 to 10 years. Keeping a rabbit in a hutch isn't going to help them live the full 10 years of their life. They can even live longer than 10 years, like 12. A couple extra years if you want to keep your rabbit around longer. If you keep your rabbit inside and feed them healthy foods like rabbit food, hay, leafy greens every day. Very good stuff. Make sure they have hay and rabbit food 24/7. Leafy greens, a handful of that every day. Fruits, vegetables, and rabbit treats. I have rabbit hair all over my face now. Sorry about that. Make sure you feed like maybe one rabbit treat or one piece of fruit like a blueberry once a day, just so the rabbit knows they're beautiful and cute and sweet. For bedding, no cedar, no pine, very bad for any animal. No cat litter that's clumpy or is dusty. Make sure none of that. No baths because rabbit fur is not meant to get soaked. And no trancing your rabbit. Trancing your rabbit means putting it on its back. And I have a bearded dragon back on my keyboard. Wants the attention right now. So, yes, no baths. You can wipe your rabbit off with a wet rag or what's it called? Some wet wipe or something like that, whoever is dirty, but don't bathe your rabbit. So no drip bottles. Drip bottles would be no, get the drip bottle, please. Something I'm gonna get in a second, but use an actual bowl because a drip bottle will make them dehydrated because they won't be able to. This is a drip bottle. They won't be able to drink enough out of that normally. Yeah. So that will lead to dehydration in your rabbit. So they need a litter bin. Litter bins, so they can go to the bathroom at every corner of their cage or outside of their cage, like because you want to keep them out of the cage as much as possible, so they can run around your house or a room, or a place that you blocked off for them in your house. Yeah, get a litter bin that is for cats, a big litter bin for cats, not something for small animals. That's too small for the rabbit to go to the bathroom in. The rabbit will be missing the litter bin. Make sure you have something soft for them to sleep on because they're prone to foot sores. Yeah, that's really all I got. Rabbits. Holding rabbits isn't great. They have a fragile spine. They'll try to normally jump down. They also have sharp nails. They kick. They won't try purposely scratching you, but they don't like it. Most rabbits don't like to be held. And don't pick your rabbit up by the ears. Don't pick them up by the scruff, which is like this extra skin on their back. Don't do that. That's how animals of prey pick them up, like vultures and hawks and stuff. That scares your rabbit. That makes them breathe faster and their heart rate go up. That's what scientists prove. That's also what science proved about trancing your rabbit. Like people on like Facebook and YouTube, you see them holding the rabbit on the back. It's not good for your rabbit. It scares them. That will lead to them having a heart attack as they get older. Yeah. So you can hold your rabbit. You just have to be very careful about it. And the rabbit's not going to be a huge fan of it normally. So don't do it that often unless you're moving your rabbit around. And that's why I'm holding him very close to me, so he knows that he's safe. And he's actually starting to calm down. Before he was like breathing very fast and very deep, and now he's pretty calm actually. Okay. If that's all the questions you have. That was enough now. Yeah. Okay. Then I have one more animal to go over. Screen? Oh, hi. Okay. So, I love this. Okay. So, these are, oh, you can hear them. I don't know where's the speakers that you guys can hear without seeing. Okay. So, you heard that, these are Madagascar hissing cockroaches. I'm gonna take out all 3 of these guys just to be fun. Here you are. Oh, drop one. This thing does not want to stay. Stay on my own. Stay. There you go. So these are Madagascar hissing cockroaches, and they can get larger than this. They can get up to like 3 inches, 4 inches, kind of. For the male and females too, actually. The males, you can see these are all males. They have these like kind of horns on them. So those 2 bumps on their head are their horns. They do hiss, like you can hear them hiss a little bit. Hopefully they'll hiss again. No, they're not scared. Oh, one was scared or annoyed. Don't hiss like this was now. I don't mess with these guys too much. That's why they get scared pretty easily or threatened. This one apparently feels very threatened by me. They eat fruits, vegetables, cat food is protein, banana. I feed mostly apples to them because I have to keep them healthy. They're gut loaded, so I can feed them to my other animals. So that one's moving on. Put that one back there. But these two seem pretty chill. What else? They're very clean. They actually very good pets for little kids. So if you want to teach your kid responsibility, get them a Madagascar hissing cockroach. I suggest male because that way you don't have to worry about them already being pregnant when you get them. Because the females might be pregnant from being kept around males. And they're clean. They're cleaner than people. They have these little white mites that live on them that clean them too. And you can see the white mites. You can't see them in the camera. I actually can't see any either. But they have little white mites that live on them and clean them. They clean themselves too. They like to be very clean. After I'm done with them right now, they're gonna go back in their tank and they'll clean themselves after I'm done. They need to be clean like cats. What else? Females don't have the horns. They give birth, I think once every 4 months, or I think 6 months, something like that. Not that often. They're for breeding them, you see 1 male to every 4 females, or there's gonna be some fighting going on if there's more males than that. So they're omnivores, meat and vegetables. Oh, there's some light right there. Can't really see it. Oh yeah, you can see it right there. It's blocking. Small little thing. Yeah, so that's it for the Madagascars. Oh, here let me compare to dubia. So I also brought a dubia roach with me. Dubia male. So you can see the difference. So these dubia males, they have wings. Those are wings that you're looking at. And you can see the difference between how thin the legs are. And you see the wings better there. Color, yeah. So that's the difference between a dubia male and a Madagascar male, because you were hearing me say dubias earlier are better to feed off. The dubia babies are actually fatter than the dubia adults. And so I don't feed dubia adults off, I feed dubia babies off because they're fatter and chunkier and have a lot more meat on them.
Do you have a sort of sanctuary?
I have a sanctuary. So I have an animal sanctuary, not a zoo. I don't really support zoos. They take animals out of the wild a lot of times that don't need to be taken out of the wild. I take in relinquished animals that normally are injured, or people can't take care of them anymore, or have some other issue like that.
Do you teach in the community?
I teach in the community at different community events. When people invite me for school events or at other animal sanctuaries I teach at. Yeah.
Water and stream.
I teach about water and stream life too for their insects and stream studies. And I bring my toad because she's a wild caught toad, so she's very good for teaching about that.
And your donations, how do you see the donations?
And so if you would like to donate to my sanctuary, you can donate to Venmo for Taryn Butterfly Rain Carpenter, and PayPal. I can't read your handwriting. Okay, Taryn Carpenter, TEAS. Thank you for listening to me present about my sanctuary. And thank you for the listening to the Native Wellness Power Hour.